Now we have a unique and intense look at one of the most influential figures in organized crime over the last century. His name was John "Sonny" Franzese, an underboss with the Colombo crime family, described as the last of the old-time mafia bosses. I spoke with the author of a new book detailing his complicated life and decades of violence.
All right, we mentioned to you at the beginning of our program tonight, there's a major roundup underway of top leaders in organized crime in our area.
The late 1970s and early 80s, New York City, when mob violence regularly made headlines and FBI raids seemed to come often.
They were arrested by federal and state law enforcers after an 18-month investigation.
The Colombo crime family, often the target of federal law enforcement as their own bloody civil war spilled over and into the streets.
To parade a gaggle of gangsters before cameras and microphones.
There are many well-known wise guy stories from this era. Now a closer look at one man wrapped up in it all. John "Sonny" Franzese, the underboss of the Colombo family at multiple times over the course of nearly a century.
And he was an unabashed bad guy. Certainly when I talked to him, he didn't admit any murders because there's no statute of limitations on murders. But he was certainly proud of his life of crime.
Newsday investigative journalist Sandra Petty interviewed Franzese when he was over 100 years old.
He was completely lucid, very smart, very charming.
Her new book, Sonny, the last of the old-time mafia bosses, is a closer look at his complicated legacy.
He was the kind of guy you would want to invite to a backyard barbecue until you realize you'd be crazy to let him near anyone. You know, he is suspected of killing 40 to 50 people.
And there was the extortion.
Some rough guys would come to the club and start busting it up. Well, the owner doesn't know what to do, so he turns to Sonny. And Sonny would say, well, yeah, I can take care of it for you, but it's going to cost you.
On the surface, though, things were much different. Sonny rubbed shoulders with celebrities and athletes and raised a family before being sent to prison for orchestrating a string of robberies nationwide in the late 1960s.
If Sonny had lived a straight life, he could have been the CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
Franzese was paroled in the 1970s, but by the 80s, one of his sons, Michael, was starting to make headlines of his own. This report from the Fox 5 archive.
I'm not bitter. I would say I'm very disappointed.
Michael Franzese was sent to prison on conspiracy charges in 1986. While inside, Michael turned his life around and became a born-again Christian. He's now a popular social media personality. But it was Sonny's other son, John Jr., who changed the course of mob history, testifying against his own father when Sonny was 93 years old, sending him back to prison.
I imagine that for you writing a book like this, there's a fine line between glorifying someone like Sonny and really painting this picture of, you know, what some people might describe as a serial killer if he wasn't in the mafia.
He did not regret being in the mafia. He regretted being sent to prison for a 50-year sentence. And he regretted that his absence in his family's life led them to this downward spiral that they couldn't get out of.
Such a complicated story, but a fascinating one.
It is all still fascinating, right?
Absolutely right, yeah. Sandra Petty's new book, Sonny, the last of the old-time mafia bosses, is out on March 29th. It will be available everywhere.